Now the news in detail. Local news first. President Rajapaksa launches construction of the world's largest Buddhist publication and information complex.
The President, in his Mahinda Chintana policy statement in 2004, gave priority to building a virtuous country. This is also his prime aim. Another desire was to save the people from the trend of crime by bringing them closer to the temple, church and Kovil. The President is engaged in a dire effort to realize this task. The launching of work on the Buddhist publications and information complex today was another such measure. This Sri Sambuddha Jayanti Mandira, a joint task of the Ministry of Urban Development and the Buddhist Cultural Center of Nadimala, will come up at Havelock Road in Thimbirigasyaya. It will have 12 floors. There will be an auditorium with a seating capacity of 600. It will also be equipped with facilities to pursue various languages and Dhamma research activities and other facilities for the propagation of the Dhamma. Prime Minister Ratnasiri Wickramanayake laid the foundation stone for the Mandira. The President unveiled the plaque. Ranjini Herath, wife of former Minister S.B. Herath, handed over 20 million rupees to the President for the construction work. Several parliamentarians were present. Director of the Buddhist Cultural Center, the Venerable Kirama Vimalajyoti Thera, delivered an Anusasana.
The entire country is geared to commemorate the 62nd Independence Day celebrations. It will be held at the Mahamaluwa of the Sri Dalada Maligawa in Kandy tomorrow under the patronage of President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
This year's celebrations will be held in a grandiose manner since it is the first independence commemoration held in a unified country after liberating it from 30 years of terrorism. A rehearsal of the celebrations was staged with the participation of the defense hierarchy at the Sri Dalada Maligawa premises. Kandy District Secretary Gotabe Jaratna said about 2,000 members of the armed forces, the police and the civil defense force, in addition to 1,000 artists, will contribute to the celebrations. Meanwhile, arrangements have been finalized for the holding of the Daitakurula exhibition to be held in parallel to the celebrations. This is the first time that it is being organized outside the capital. This is the first time that it is being organized outside the capital. The exhibition, which will begin tomorrow and continue until the 10th, will comprise 1,000 stalls. It spans 60 acres.
Elections Commissioner Dayananda Dissanayake has totally rejected allegations of malpractices during the course of the presidential polls. Addressing a news briefing, the elections chief said that no one had threatened him at gunpoint as rumors by some to manipulate the results.
The result of these centers are sent to us individually, and we do a manual count here as well as a computer count, and both sheets are being verified by me personally. Anyone who are not satisfied or having grievances, the only avenue left is to go to courts. I have decided to stay back until this is being heard, and by midnight the trend of the voting pattern was known to everybody who are interested in to know the trend. By this time there were speculations to say Commissioner is under house arrest, he is signing the documents under gunpoint. Anyway, I take the challenge. Anyone can prove that. I am bound to any imposition that anyone who can do it on me. The results were disseminated to the public through the Commission of Elections with the help of University of Colombo School of Computing. I am completely having my faith and the trust with the UCSC. No one of them have manipulated these results. Voting and the results, I stand by.
Still on local news, the Cinnamon Lakeside Hotel management has pointed out that they were not aware of a conspiracy of Sarath Fonseca. 70 rooms were allocated by making the total payment at once. Minister Ashla Jagara today inquired into the conspiracy of Sarath Fonseca from the hotel management. The minister said that it was the responsibility of the management to inquire into the reservation of 70 rooms by a group including Sarath Fonseca. He also said that it was the onus of the management to apprise the defence sectors of this suspicious allocation. He emphasized that the full responsibility of any change in the situation on that day would have to be borne by the management. The hotel management expressed concern over the incident. It added that the services of several employees related to the incident have already been suspended. India hands over a second consignment of shelter material for the IDPs. India's High Commissioner Ashok Kekantha presented the first lot of the second consignment of galvanized corrugated sheets to Minister Douglas Devananda and Rishad Baduddin. The second consignment contains a total of 265,000 sheets. India earlier supplied another consignment of sheets in August last year. The total cost incurred on procuring the consignments was 608 million Sri Lankan rupees. Speaking on the occasion, the Indian High Commissioner reiterated that their deep commitment to the reconstruction and rehabilitation of the North. He also underlined India's commitment to infrastructure development in the North. The government is to finalize the first draft action plan for the promotion and protection of human rights. A combined draft of the National Action Plan has been presented to the Minister of Disaster Management and Human Rights, Mahinda Samarasinha. The Minister will appoint an inter-ministerial committee to develop a finalized first draft from this combined draft, which will be circulated for public comment. The initiative was embarked upon for several reasons. According to a new release of the ministry, it is to respond to a need of a take stock of human rights situation in the country, identifying gaps and implementing appropriate remedial measures. A monitoring body will be established under the chairmanship of the minister to monitor the implementation of the action plan in coordination with the National Action Plan Steering Committee. Regular reports of progress will be made available to the public and also the international bodies such as the UN Human Rights Council. The U.S. Agency for International Development has announced $3 million in new funding to support international organization of migrations operations of return and resettlement of some 77,000 internally displaced persons in the North. The assistance will include transport to allow IDPs to return to their home districts, emergency shelter kits to build temporary housing and transitional shelters, water and sanitation facilities, and the provision of emergency health services across the region. Announcing the funding, U.S. Ambassador Patricia Buchanan said that their focus is on vulnerable families such as female-headed households and the elderly and the disabled. By improving access to shelter and providing clean water and healthcare, USAID is extending some of the critical services these people need to begin to rebuild their lives. Sri Lanka's head of mission of the International Organization of Migration, Mohammed Abdikar, said thousands of IDP families are returning to their native areas with very little basic facilities, such as shelter, water, sanitation and basic health services, and they plan to meet their most immediate needs. The agency has assisted the Sri Lankan authorities in providing emergency shelter, water, sanitation and hygiene, and primary health care to thousands of IDPs mainly in the Manik Farm displacement camp in Wamena district. Business leaders and chambers claim that the much required stable environment that the corporate sector sees as necessary and conducive for enterprises now prevails in the country. They attribute this to the results of the recently concluded presidential election in which the president was re-elected.
Aloy Jayawardena, President of Sri Lanka Chamber of Small Industries, said that he believed that the country would have much required economic stability now. They are confident that the country is now having the economic stability with the President's achievement of this tremendous majority. He said that they are further confident that the government will be able to muster a two-thirds majority at the forthcoming general election. Managing Director of the Hetticoda Industries Private Limited and Deputy President of National Chamber of Commerce of Sri Lanka, Asoka